And we'll start with you, Mr. Tomlinson.
Thank you. My experience as far as working with budgets. I graduated from college at just about the worst time that anybody could graduate from college or about to start out on your own. 2008, 2009 was, as everybody knows, just about the worst, I think pretty much most of us have seen in the economy in our lives, and that was just as I was graduating college. So not only was I being hit with, some beautiful student loans from Sallie Mae and the rest of them, but I also was, tasked with finding employment. With that comes a lot of being able to manage your budget. It was not easy. At one point, I was laid off from my job, and that took a lot of focus on being able to manage my own budget. And I may not have experience with working with $4 million budgets, but then again, who does?
Thank you.
Well, I'm glad you asked who does have experience working with $4 million budgets. That come from the pockets of 4,000 or 5,000 people, because I do. I've sat in numerous meetings over the past 16 years. I've been a part of 16 Manchester Town Council budget processes, all of them balanced budgets. Over the past 4 years, one of the most important duties of the mayor is that the mayor submits a budget to the town council for approval. Over the last 4 years, I've submitted 4 balanced budgets, each of which included 0 property tax increases.
And while we're on the topic of business, I think one of the main things that we need to get accomplished is the Sheets expansion project, which has been in the works for 7 years. I assume we all probably go to Sheets and get our gas there, or at least attempt to get our gas there in that maze or circus, you want to call it. And it's not easy. And the reality, or the fact is, it's been in the works for 7 years to build a new Sheets. And I see a lot of fingers pointing at each other as to who's to blame for the holdup. But if elected mayor, that is one of the things I will focus on, is getting the Sheets project completed.
To give a very brief, I'll say, history on that, the Sheets project, came in a number of years ago, and they were halted by MDE because they were leaking MTBE into the groundwater. So they were halted, again, by a state government agency because they were leaking poison into water that the rest of us need to drink and brush our teeth and give to our kids. So for us to step in and try to drive that project forward over top of a state agency that's doing their best to make sure that our groundwater is not poisoned would have been highly irresponsible. As time went on, and they've mediated to MDE's satisfaction that groundwater issue, Sheets makes their own calls. They're a private company. We can't tell them what to do. So if they choose not to push forward with something for their own business reasons, that's on them.
We've addressed the issue of the transparency. Is there anything in the past of any of the candidates for mayor, and each one of you will give an answer to this, that would be an embarrassment in your mind, or could be an embarrassment in the minds of voters in an elected official that has not been, addressed so far this evening? And I think we'll start with you, Mr. Tomlinson.
Like everybody who lives in Maryland, all of our records are open to the public, and anybody can easily view them. Because I am a bit younger, obviously, any failures I have had in my life are fairly more recent than maybe some other individuals. Do I have some past failures in my life? Yes, I do.
I've never been arrested. Before or after judicial case cert.
I had a speeding ticket when I was 16, and
Mr. Thompson, I understand and I appreciate you wanting to run for mayor. What I don't understand is why. Okay, as a matter of public record, you've mentioned you've been arrested before. Okay, so public record shows that, and this is public record. DUI, driving on a suspended license. But your Facebook page, which troubles me, being a father of a teenage girl, you were a self-proclaimed president of the Dynasty Club, which is the underage sex club that was in North Carroll.
As far as such a thing as the dynasty, if you're referring to a organized men's softball team, then sure.
I'm sorry, hold on, I don't mean to interrupt. By the way, I have stepkids that went to high school with you, so just remember that.
You've asked your question, now let him answer, please. Go ahead.
As far as what part do you want me to address? Whether I have involvement or whether my thoughts or feelings?
It's your platform right now, you have 2 minutes.
I don't know anything about.
So you've been asked the question. It's one of those kinds of questions that do come up with candidates who run for public office. Some other questions were in here. I chose to reword them a little bit to give you a chance to respond to it. You've been asked by someone who came into the room and asked the question. You can answer the question as you see fit. No one's going to rebut your answer.
As I said before, yes, everybody who lives in Manchester, their records are out there for anybody to view. I don't think having a DUI in the past disqualified George Bush or Dick Cheney, who between the two of them had 3, and they seem to do all right. As far as knowing anything about underage sex parties or anything in relation to anything with that, I have no idea, and I don't know how to comment on that. I'm not sure really beyond that what to go into. I feel.
I think that maybe some of the questions and lack of experience are indicative of maybe not the, whether or not somebody should be, banished for life versus is suitable to be mayor right now. The rest of my time, I think I'd rather focus on the positives and what we've been able to achieve over the last 4 years. 4 years ago, we inherited a rather lackluster police department. We made several changes, including bringing in a new police chief, a very community-minded police chief. Crime is down 27%. 2014, we had 0 violent crime. Manchester has 1.2% of the crime in Carroll County, and only 2.5% of the law enforcement agents. Law enforcement are, uniformed officers. So the numbers really say Manchester's the safest place to live, work, and raise your family. In my mind, I think that it makes sense to continue with the same team that's been able to accomplish bringing Manchester to, really from the basement of a police department into, if we don't have the best chief and the best police department in Carroll County right now, at least on the municipal level, then I want to know who does.
Anyhow, we've seen what Councilman or Councilperson Black and Mayor Werner have been able to do. They have both been, elected officials for a good while, 4 years, 16 years. We have seen what they can do, and if you're happy with what they do, then please vote them back in.
Thank you.
I'd like to start by, thanking again the Carroll Media Center, all the volunteers, the town staff, and each of you for coming in and listening. Also, thank you for your endorsement. If you are happy, then please continue to vote for strong leadership and for the town moving forward. So obviously, there's been some spirited debate here tonight, and I think that is good. It's good to get things out in the open, lay it out for the voters. The real good news is this really gives you a very clear picture of who the candidates are, what our past looks like, what our plans are for the future, and now it's really up to you. Right? It's up to the voters to decide what path do we want to go on, continue on, or change drastically over the next 4 years. So I hope that you'll consider voting for me. Be my pleasure to serve as mayor again. It's been an absolute thrill over the past 4 years and 12 years before that on the council. And I look forward to seeing each of you here on May 19th. Thank you again.